Okay, hopefully this works. Finally did come up there, but we seem to be stable now. Yeah, we're good. All right. So we left off last time by starting to look at classes. Classes are a way that Python supports encapsulation. Rather than just setting up a bunch of tuples, what I want to do is I want to create a class, say, to represent book data, right? In which case I would have a variable called the title, a variable called author, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I've actually got some book data here that we can work with. So let's use that as our design, basically our semantic design here. All right, so the way that we started out was by creating a class, class book, right? We're using the same upper camel casing conventions, right? So, oops, not def class, but class, then class name, right? We're going to use upper camel casing for class names, and we'll use lower underscore score casing for variables. But as we already saw last time, there are no predefined or predescribed variables because that would be a statically typed language. Instead, what you have is an init function. And remember, that's two underlines on either side of init. Init stands for initialize. And this is basically a constructor, right? Like in Java, where you're creating an actual instance of this thing. You have to use the self keyword as the first argument to all of your functions. Otherwise, they're not member functions. They're not member methods. And then you can provide whatever you want here. I'll go ahead and go with book ID. Book ID underscore. Title, author, looks like last name was first. Then first name. Then what do we have? An ISBN, average, rating, or let's just call it rating, right? Publisher, publish, year, and date, read. That's what added means. Whenever I read it, all right? And there we've got those things. Now, you've got a lot of typing to do here, but that's not that big of a deal because you just have to do it once. No, there's no sensible workaround to getting out of this. You can use your ID. If you've got a fuller ID like PyCharm or something, maybe it'll generate code for you just like Java does and Eclipse does. But yeah, you have to say self book ID is equal to book ID. Self title is equal to that. Self dot author last name is equal to author last name. Right? Oh, we got a comment online. Having a harder time than anything else to my hands. Yeah, it is difficult to switch over to Python because it is a dynamic programming language, and the conventions are a little bit different, like all the underscore stuff. It does take me a lot to get used to it, especially if I've done a bunch of Java one day, going into Python the next, I always forget. But it's just something that you have to do. Right? Last name, or I'm just going to go ahead and leave it at that. All right. The rest, actually, I do want the rating eventually. Self.rating is equal to rating. There we go. Now, once you've got each one of those things, you can go ahead and use it in your class. All right. So, how do I bring in that book? From book, import book. Right. Now, there's where you've got to be careful because the lowercase versus the uppercase. The file name convention is lowercase. The actual class name is uppercase. And so from the book file or the book module, import book. And now I don't have to do this these tuples anymore. What I can do is I can actually provide values. Let's say blood meridian is now equal to, there is no new keyword, by the way. Instead, it is book. And remember here that it's going to be a value, like an ID, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it's the title is next, I believe, right? And then it's last name, first name, isn't it? Or what did I do? So here's another trick that you're going to have to get used to. You can also move things side by side, right? You can drag and drop tabs in the CS50 IDE so that you can look at things side by side easily. So there's the author, last name, first name would be Cormac. Then what else do I want? The rating. I'll just leave it as the rating there, right? There we go. Red queen, let me go ahead and switch those around. And here I'll just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 as an ID. Red queen, and I think it was, yeah, I think that's last name, first name, I'm not sure. And then the value there, okay? And there, now I have books, right? Or, sorry, book, right there, book, right? Let's run that to make sure that I didn't mistype anything. Demo.py. Oops, we did mistype something. Oh, missing 4 required positional arguments. Okay, fine. We can either do them or, because of ISBN equals none, right? No, we did ISBN first, so we're going to have to do something here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that, and will that allow me to do it? Nope, I still have to do 3 other positional arguments. So how do I get past that? I can just say that this is equal to none, right? And then I don't have to specify that for now. I'll come back and fix that later on because we are going to be doing that. But otherwise, I think that will get me around it. There we go. Right. Remember that these are default values. If you don't provide those as arguments when you actually invoke the function or call the function, then those default values will be taken over. But I'm actually not doing anything with them right now. All right, let me go ahead and bring that back over so we have more real estate. All right, well, what else would you want to do to a book once you've got it? What else would you want to do? What other things would you want in your class definition, or your, like, what other bells and whistles would you want? I would want to print it out for one. So let's go ahead and try to print it out. Print blood meridian, right? Print red queen, right? There we go. So what do you think that's going to do, by the way, without me saying how to print something? What's the default in Java? Don't remember? All right. That's the default in Java too. What is it printing out? A memory address, right? It also is printing out the module and the class name. It's telling me that it's an object at that hexadecimal memory location. I don't want that. I want a human readable way of interpreting this. So we have another dunder method called str. str. And that's kind of like the toString method. In fact, it is the toString method that you would have in Java, right? And all you need to do is say, how do I want to represent this thing as a string? And I'll return a formatted string here, right, with the self.title by self.author last name, comma, self.author first name for now, right? Maybe I want some more data there or something like that, but that's what I'm going to do for now, okay? Let's see if that works. All right, Blood Meridian by McCarthy, comma, Cormac. Red Queen by Aviard Victoria, right? Last name, comma, first name. If you wanted something else, of course, you could go ahead and reformat this string entirely. Now, that's not going to cut it for everything. That's going to cut it for simple print statements like this. But remember, I preferred using pretty print, pprint.pprint, right, of Blood Meridian and Red Queen. All right. Change this to pprint.pprint. And that's not going to get me the same thing. I'm back to square one here. It is going to be a hexadecimal memory address. And that's because there's yet another dunder method, right? That dunder, remember, dunder, what does dunder stand for? Double underline, right? And it's called repra. It's short for representation, right? Self. And that's actually what pretty print is using. And depending on the context, print will use one or the other. Basically, the rule of thumb, I believe, is that str is for human readable formats, and repra is for computer readable formats, right? But I'm going to make them both do the same thing, but just by simply copying this, right? Now, how could I have done that without copy pasta? Okay, I could recall self dot str, I believe, right? Does that work? No. Oh, because I've only got, what would be a sunder? Single underline? Now it's dunder. There we go. Hopefully that works. And yay, it works. Don't repeat yourself. DRY principle. If you've already got a function that does it and you want both of these functions to behave the same way, just simply have one function call the other function. Right? Okay, great. Now what I want to do with those are great for having two books here, but what I've got here is a bunch of data that represents a bunch of books, 20 or some books, right? And I want to read them all. So let's bring to bear everything that we've covered up to this point to do this, right? I'll go ahead and get rid of this demo code right here, right? I want to open up that CSV file for processing. I want to read in all the pieces of data, and then I want to print them all out. Okay? Because eventually what I want to do is I want to sort them. Right? So ideas. What do I need to? How do I open up a file? Remember? If there's for C, it would be fopen, but they've shortened it. In fact, if you look under the hood, guess what this function is actually calling? It's calling fopen. Everything is calling a C library at the end of the day, right? So what did I call it? My good reads data.csv. There we go. And we'll open it up for the purposes of reading. If you want to, you can be a little bit more Pythonic. I was not very Pythonic there, right? Double. So let's go ahead and go double is going to be replaced by single, replace all. There we go. Now it's a little bit more Pythonic, right? Pylint's not going to complain about that, but whatever, right? How do I read every single line in that file? F dot read lines. All right, there we go. No, semicolon. And that's going to give me lines, right? Now, if I pretty print this out, pretty print lines, right, then I'm going to get all the raw data, right? Including end line characters there, right? So help me out. How can I go ahead and read these in all as, say, tuples, right? So first step. Read all of them in as tuples of strings. Okay. All right. I could write a traditional for loop for line in lines. Right. I could say tokens. I'll split them all up. How do I split? Split. And how do I want to split them? According to commas. And then I could say book is equal to book. And then I could give it all the tokens. Tokens of 0, tokens of 1, tokens of 2, ... How many do I need to do? I'm not that allergic to typing. How many tokens were we reading? I shouldn't have erased that. Book ID, title, 2 names, ISBN, and rating. That was 6. Is it? All right, so that means I need to go up to tokens of 5. Right? Actually, I want to do them all. Tokens of 6. At this point, I'm going to say, no, let's not type anymore. There's a little trick here. So if you've got a collection and you want to split it, or you want to like flatten it out because you want the tokens of 0, tokens of 1, tokens of 2, you can use the following. That is not a pointer, right? That is not the star operator. What that is doing is it's taking a collection and it's flattening it out and splitting it out for you, right? And then let's add it to a collection. Books, I need books up here. Books is equal to a list. How do I add something to a collection again? Append book. Right? And then let's print all that. Print, books, box, books. Okay? And I meant to say step 1. Right? All right, let's see if that worked. There. Right? Very, very few lines of code. Right? And I saved on a lot of typing by using this. Is there another way that I could have saved on even more typing? Yeah, list comprehension. Books equals what? All I need to do is take the logic that I put into that loop and simply say, let's say, book, book of tokens for, oh, can I do it? Ooh, is there going to be an easy way to do this? That's the end, what I want in the end for, no, darn it. I don't think that there is a list, because basically what I want is, I could say for line and lines, but what I need to do is I need to take that lines and I need to split it out for line and lines, right? But then how do I get this line into a token? Well, I could do, I get to do this, line.split. There we go. And then, yeah, I think I did it, right? Let's find out. Let's go ahead and get rid of that one so that we don't confuse it. Hey, I did it. All one line. All I did was take each one of these lines and then put it somewhere inside that list comprehension. Now, if you're just new, if you're just learning Python, this might be a little bit more familiar because this is how you would do it in C, Java, whatever. But this is going to be a little bit more Pythonic because that would be the preferred way of doing it. Right? Is one more efficient than another? Not really. Right? And you can go a little bit too far. If you've got a really, really complex list comprehension that spans multiple lines, maybe split it out into multiple steps first, okay? But otherwise I did it, yay, got it all, right? One thing that is actually being hidden here is remember that doesn't actually, reading this in read lines, that actually preserves the end line characters. So if I were to actually print out the last item, which is date read, read on self dot date read, there we go. Is that what I called it? Date read. Then I'm going to get double spacing. Nope. What's wrong? Oh, I never actually set it. So self dot date read is equal to date read. We are passing that in. Let's do it. There we go. It's all double spaced, right? That looks kind of gross, right? So what could I have done over here when I read everything in to split out that last line? Say what? R strip, exactly. So when do I want to do that? Line dot R strip, and this might actually break it. R strip, and then split. Does it actually return itself? Oh no, it worked. Beautiful, right? You'll learn that that's something called the fluent pattern. That when you actually no, that's actually not a fluent pattern because this is actually returning a brand new string because strings are immutable. So it's returning a brand new string with the end line character stripped out, and then we chain it to another call to split it out into commas, according to commas. Cool. Yay. All right, great. Well, now what I want to do is I want to ask a couple of questions. Right? What is the best book? Right? Question, best book. What is the worst book? All right. What is the most recent, or what is the newest book? Right? What's the oldest book, of course, et cetera, et cetera. What are the books written by, I don't know, let's go with Terry Pratchett. Hopefully there's a lot in there, okay? Now that I've got this actually read into memory, how would you go about doing this? What about the best book? Actually, let's go with this one. I want to show you how it breaks. Let's go with oldest. There we go. There. So what is the old? Let's go with the oldest first. All right. So what is the oldest book? Let's just write a traditional loop to do this. For book in books, right? I just need to look at the publish year, right? And to do that, I need to actually set it. So I do need to come back over here and say self.publish year is equal to publish year, right? And then let me add that over here. Published on publish year. Okay. All right. What's the oldest book? Well, let's go ahead and get the year of the first book. So books, how do I get the first book? Where is it? 0 dot publish year. All right. Okay. That'll be the oldest year, let's say. And then I need to go through all the other books, and I need to determine, what year were they published in. And if that's older, then I will update my oldest year. So if a book of publish year is less than oldest year, then we found something even older. So let's update oldest year to be book.publish year. And after it's all said and done, using this as a for loop here, print oldest year is, and then I'll put in oldest year. This will actually get us the year that it was published, but will it actually tell us what book it is? No, let's try it though. 1908. Okay, fine. Do I go back over to my data here and say, okay, which one of these was published in 1908? It's probably Anne of Green Gables at the top there. Yep, Anne of Green Gables. All right, but I want my code to do that for me. Ideas. Yeah. Okay. Then that means I would have to go back even less Pythonic and have an I in range of the length of books. I could do that. And then keep track of not the oldest year, but the oldest year index equals 0. And then if the publish year of the ith book is less than the book of oldest year index dot publish year, there. Then I will update my oldest year published index to I. All right. And then I can get oldest or books of oldest year index. And then there. Now I've got the book, right? Oops. Books is what I want. There we go. Books and books. Okay. There. Oldest book, Anne of Green Gables. We did it. Right? Is that very Pythonic though? Nah. In fact, it's not even a Python issue here. What if I want to ask the same question for newest book? What am I going to end up doing? Copy pasting those 5 and switching around all of the variable names and switching around the less than or equal to, right? So what is a better way of doing this? Sorting, right? Let's sort instead. Because if I sorted it, the oldest one according to publish year, then the oldest one's going to be up here, and the newest one's going to be down here, right? But before we do that, we need to understand how to sort. Okay. To do that, let's go ahead and use I can't use list here. Numbers. Right? It's equal to 4, 6, 8, 2, 3, just random numbers. Oops, got to actually be numbers. 3 and 4. There we go. Now, how do I sort that? Numbers. If they're sort of Java, it'd be sort. That's it. Right? And let's go ahead and print it out now. pprint numbers. Okay. And there we go. It's I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that printing so that we can just see what we're working on right now. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 8. Like every programming language, the default sorting is going to be in ascending order or non-decreasing order. If I don't want that, how can I reverse it? I can make it a comparator, which we're eventually going to do, but I can send in a flag variable here. Reversed equals true. Reversed by default is going to be false. And so by setting it equal to true, it's going to now be, oops, what did I do wrong? Is it reverse? Yeah, it's reverse, not reversed, sorry. There we go. All right. Now it's in descending order. Great. So you don't have to create a brand new comparator if there's already a comparator for it. All right. All right. Well, what if you wanted to do this a little bit differently? What about strings? names equals Joe, Jane, Chris, and Bob. There we go. Actually, I'm going to misspell Bob there. Yeah, let's do that. And let's print out names after we've sorted it. Names.sort. Now predict here who's going to be first, or who should be first. Bob, because he starts, B comes before C. But what ends up happening here? Chris, oh, did I not sort? I sorted. Right. So why is Bob at the end? ASCII text values. This is a lexicographic sorting. So all the capitals come before all the lowercase stuff. Right? Yeah. Let's see. So takeaway there is sorting is lexicographic for strings. Okay. Yeah. Years. Let's do one more example here. 1908, 400, and 1916, and say let's 2026. All right, so are those numbers, first of all? Are these I mean, they look like numbers, but what are they? They're strings. So what's the first thing that's going to be in there? What's the first thing once I sort it? I actually, oops, years, okay. There we go. There, 1908, 1916, that makes sense because they're all four numbers. But then what happens to my 400? It's at the end. That's gonna, let's head off that problem right now in the book class over here. When we pass in this, say, publish year, we're passing it in as a string, right? So if I wanted to eventually sort this by publish year to get the oldest and the newest, what's going to happen to a book that was published in 400? Right. It's going to be last. Do I want that? Nope. So let's fix that. I want this publish year to be treated as an integer. How do I convert it over to an integer? Int. Okay. All right. That headed off one problem, but it created a new one probably. Yeah. Think about what's going on here. Let's come back over to my data file. What happens on the first line? It tries to convert what? Publish year, original publication year, as an integer. Is it going to be able to do that? Nope. Okay, let's come back all the way up here, and let's rethink this. We're going to have to redo both of these actually. All right, I don't want that first line. How can I exclude that first line? Yeah, start at 1 and go all the way to the end. How would I do it over here in this list comprehension? Same way. Start at 1 and go all the way to the end. This should work now, hopefully. Yep. Okay. What else might we need to do over here? What about the rating? Should that be treated as a string? Should it be treated as an integer? Nope. What should it be treated as? A float or a double. I think you can do float. It might be an alias, but it's the same. Floats, there are no 32-bit floats in Python. They're all 64-bit. Right? What else would we need to do? ISBN. Oops, let's do that. Self.isbn is equal to ISBN. Oops. Then what else? Publisher. Self.publisher. That is a string. Publisher. And then I've got the rest. Publisher, date read. I think I got them all. Except that date read. Is that a string? Let's take a look at what they look like, by the way. Is that a proper ISO 8601 format? No. How do I convert that over? We'll talk about that later. Just like in my last class, what's the first thing you should ask yourself when you're faced with a problem? I have to convert this over to an actual date. What's the first thing you should ask yourself? Yeah, has somebody already done this before? In other words, is there a built-in date object or a date time object in Python? The answer is yes. Don't roll your own, right? Otherwise, you'd have to split it out according to those backslash or those forward slashes. Pull out the month, pull out the day, pull out the year. You'd have to create your own class basically to do that. Don't do that. Reuse what's in Python. Right? We'll talk about it later though. Right? Okay, well, there's sorting. How do I sort my books now? Sort books by publish year. Right? So books.sort. If I just did this, what would end up happening? Preprint.pprint books. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all this. I'll leave it in the notes, but I will temporarily. Oh, there's another IDE trick. How did I do that? Control /. Well, wait a second. Forward slashes, that's not comments in Python. It's still the same key though, right? So don't ask me. If you did like command 3 because that's the hash up there, I don't think it does anything. Or maybe it does something weird. I don't know. Okay. Sort. That less than is not supported between instances of book and book, right? So I'm going to have to give this a little bit more information. I'm going to have to tell it what key to use, right? And I think I can do it in any order. No, oh, it's up here, sorry. I have to tell it what key to use. Here's a new syntax. Lambda, what the hell is that? Right? Book dot, what is it? Did I call it rating? I should have these side by side. Yeah, rating. Or no, I didn't want rating. What did I want? Publish year. There we go. There we go. All right. Now let's see if that worked. Oh, well, it ran. Did it actually run it? Did it actually order them according to the year? Yeah. Now we're getting lucky. We already fixed the problem, but if I did have something published in 400, let's verify that that would actually work. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4. The Republic. That's my go-to by Plato. Plato doesn't have a last name. He's just Plato. Plato. Then what? So empty first name. Blah blah blah. It's a good book. 4.5. Some Greek. It's Greek, right? Yeah, I think so. And then published in what? 400. And I read it on, let's say, 1/1/26. All right. All right, so did that work? Hey, Plato's Republic is the very first one. Let me demonstrate if we had not fixed that, right? What if we had said that this is the publish year and we're treating it as a string, right? Then where's Plato's Republic? At the very end, right? So you have to treat them like they're appropriate types. Okay. All right. Now let's go back to the syntax here. I'm telling it, I want you to sort this collection called books. Well, how do you want me to sort it? I want you to use the following as a key. Lambda? What the heck is that thing? Well, it's a Greek letter, right? It's a Greek letter, right? Yeah. What does lambda look like, by the way? Lambda. It looks like, yeah, there we go. There it is. Lambda symbol. It's that thing right there, right? That is what's called it's a lambda function, but these are anonymous functions. If I were to write a function, say def foo, right? Print hello. What is the name of that function? Foo. Well, this is also a function. This is a function that returns the book publish year, right? But I don't give this function a name, right? Instead, I say, oh, map book to book.publishYear. I could, of course, map this to something else, rating. And then I would be sorting it by the rating, right? If you wanted to do it by multiple things, you can. I'll show you how to say by year, or publish year, publish year, then by book.rating. Now, that's not Python there. Instead, what I want to do is I want to combine these two things into two. So I can use a tuple. So sort it by publish year, then by rating. let's do author last name first. There we go. What do I call it? Author last name. Then by author first name. There we go. Then by rating. Book.rating. Right. So I'm combining these three things into, first it'll order it by last name. If the last name is equal, then it goes to the second thing in the tuple. If those two things are equal, then it goes to the third thing in the tuple. Right? And all I'm doing here is saying that there's this function called lambda. It's anonymous. It's a no-name function that takes a book and packages up these three pieces of data into a tuple and returns that. Right? Then the sort function uses those results to order the data. So let's see it work. Here we go. There we go. And let's go ahead and expand this out. So it's by author, by the way. So Armstrong is at the top. Then we've got Brolin, Josh Brolin. Do I have multiple Terry Pratchett's? Oh, yep, there we go. I've got 1, 2, 3 Terry Pratchett books there. What order are they ordered in? Certainly not year. Right? What was the ordering that I specified? Book rating. Let's make that as part of our string output so that we can actually see it. Right? Self.rating. But I want it out to like 2 decimals of accuracy. How do I do that? :2f. Right? Auto save. Let's take a look. There we go. Now, where are the 3 Terry Pratchett books? Right there. What order are they in? Ascending. Yeah. What if I wanted descending? What trick can you do to a number? There you go. Negate it. There. Now the 3 Terry Pratchett books are in descending order. Right? Could I have done that with the first name, by the way? Can you negate a string? No. Right? So how would you do that? Well, you'd have to come up with off the top of my head. How can you do that? I don't know. If you've got a triplicate tuple, if you've got a triple tuple, but you wanted to reverse just the middle one, that's going to be way more complicated. Figure out how to do that over the weekend. That's a nice little exercise, right? Otherwise you could come up with a function to do it. And then, of course, you can also provide the other, reversed. Reverse equals true. And now where will Plato's, there's Armstrong at the bottom and Martha Wells at the top, right? But that does the entire thing. The entire triple is reversed. How do you reverse just one? I don't know. I'm not sure. That's a good question. I should have asked myself that. Anyway, let's go ahead and sort by year. Right? Books.sort. I provide a key called lambda. Book is going to map to just the publish year, so book.publish year. Right? And where's the oldest book going to be now? It's going to be at books of, it's going to be ascending because I didn't reverse it. So, and then the newest book is going to be books of, length of books -1. Now, here's where your trick comes in. What can I do there? I want the last one, -1, right? So pprint f oldest is going to be oldest book. There we go. And the newest book is going to be the newest book there. Newest. Okay, oldest is the Republic, of course, because I put that in there, and Polybus by Armstrong, just published last year. Right. Can we answer the rest of these questions very, very easily now? Let's come back up here. What about the best book and the worst book? That's going to be by rating. What about all books by Terry Pratchett? Is that sorting? Nope. That's what? That's filtering or searching, right? Okay. So, let's see. Let's do it this way. Pratchett books, right? I'll filter it using a list comprehension. I want all books be in for let's just go with book. Book for book in books, but only if the author is equal to Terry Pratchett. If B dot, what is the first name? Let's see, author first name. There we go. Author first name is equal to Terry. Pythonic Terry. And remember, there's no ampersand ampersand. We use the and keyword. And B dot author first name. I guess that should have been first. Sorry. First. And then last name should be equal to. Yep. Pratchett. And what other mistake did I just make? Equals 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 equals. All right, there we go. And let's see, pprint Pratchett books. Do I get all three of those books? Oops, not B. It's going to be book and book. There we go. There. Ugh, didn't get to, oh, because why? I keep misspelling his name. His name is 2 T's at the end, I believe, right? We'd have to search for it, but there we go. There, got him. Truckers, Diggers, and Wings, all by Terry Pratchett. Okay. That's the same series, right? It's all by it's a trilogy series of his, right? Great. Is there a more compact way that I could have done this? Slightly more compact way. Book first author, book last name. Wrap that up into a tuple, and then wrap these up into a tuple, so that it's not. I don't know if I'm saving them that much, but it's a little bit better way of doing it. There, right? So now the first thing in the tuple has to be equal to the first thing in the tuple. The second thing over here has to be equal to the second thing in the tuple. I didn't save much on typing, granted, but I did make it more Pythonic. And now it fits on a screen. It didn't fit on the screen before, right? Still works though, right? So searching and sorting. Or we've done sorting. We've done a little bit of searching, right, by filtering, and I would actually call that a little bit more filtering than searching. Is there a binary search? A B search? There is not. No. Why? Because under the hood, they're not actually arrays. Remember that the binary search really only works if you have random access that you can jump to the middle and then search, recursively go to the left or right. Lists are not actually arrays that are stored using 0 through n-1. Instead, under the hood, everything is a hash table. And if you want to have some binary searching, then the Pythonic way to do it would be to create a map to do it. Right? For example, let's create a map that maps on author, that is going to be a tuple, first name, first last, right, to a list of their books. And that's how you would want, that's the more Pythonic way of doing it. You would use a map, and then you would use the key to jump to whatever you're trying to do. There is no binary search because nothing is an actual array in Python. A list is a hash set, or a hash table. A set is a hash table. A map is actually a hash table, right? They're all hash tables at the end of the day, right? So how can we do this? Let's call it author to books, right? And I want a map comprehension here, right? Well, the key that I want is going to be the, say, B dot author first name. What was it? Author first name. I don't want to type. Comma B dot. Oops. What did I do? There we go. Last name. We'll go last name, first name. All right. And they're going to map to a list of their books. Okay. Or just a list. And then that can be another comprehension. For B in book. There we go. And this will be what I did up here. Book for book. This is getting a little bit confusing already. Remember what I said, if you've got a really, really complex comprehension, look for ways to break it up? Well, let's look for ways to break it up first. Let's just do authors. Right? Now, is that going to be a list or a set or a map? How do you want to do it? Do you want to do it as a list or as a set? Why a set? Right, you want Terry Pratchett's going to appear 3 times, right? I don't want that to happen. I want unique authors. So let's make it a set comprehension. And this is going to be last name, first name. I'm just going to represent them as a tuple, as a pair here, right? For B in books. There we go. Let's get rid of this, and let's make sure that this is working. pprint.pprint authors. There we go. There. All the authors are now collected. Are they in any particular order? It looks like they are but that's how I sorted it before. Are there any duplicates? Is Terry Pratchett there twice or 3 times? No. So there. I've got my key set here, right? Now what I can do is I can say authors to books, and I don't need to repeat this at all. I can say A is going to map to something for A in author. Z. There we go. Okay. Now this something here, this is going to be the, now I want to isolate all the books by author A, right? So I'm going to take what I did up here, book for B in books, right? If, darn it, I'll just grab this. I don't want to have to type it again. Is equal to A, right? There. Let's pprint that. Pprint. And if it's not wrong, we only have 3 minutes to fix it. B for B in books if I did first, last. First, last. I did last first. That's why. All right. Always go last first. And then first. Pratchett Terry is not equal to Terry Pratchett. That's what happened there. There, got him. Oh, nope, I didn't get him. Darn it. Thank you. Why is it not airing out then? Okay, that's a mystery. There. Now I've got Terry Pratchett matching to the 3 books that he's written. Most people in this data set is small enough that they're all unique authors. But I do have good old JRR, right? Fellowship of the Rings and the Two Towers, right? And that's in his set. And by the way, you're getting this nice, beautiful output again because of pretty printing. Okay. If I just done this like with a print, I wonder what it would look like. Yeah, garbage. Right? So that's why it's pretty. Right? Cool. So you can do a lot of data processing like almost immediately with just a list comprehension, a series of comprehensions or whatever. At this point, like now that I've got it working, what you could do is you could take this and then put it over here. Right, and now you've done it all in one line, but I don't like to do that very much. There's not much value into brevity when you've got, all you're doing is taking, 2 lines of code, 3 lines of code, and you're making one big giant long line of code, and you're not really saving anything. You're making it less comprehensible and less readable, right? So do it in stages, right? Isolate what you want, use that to isolate something else, use that to isolate something else. Right? We'll do a whole bunch more exercises starting next week. Right? But, have a good weekend. Stay warm.